Welcome to TNT Sports Network, where it's all sports all the time. I'm Tom, and thanks for joining me today. Today we have a special guest. We have the NFL insider, our ESPN insider, the beat writer for the Tennessee Titans in my life, all right, Mr. Scott Rockcamp. Scott, welcome. Thanks for joining.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. Really appreciate it. I don't do this many small shows. I'm very busy, but I take some time to come talk to you about some football.
Yes, please. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. How are you feeling about the Titans to start the year?
I'm excited. It's nice to see that the national media is talking about Tennessee for once.
Yep.
Expectations around here, they're high, man. Everybody's kind of bought in. Mike Vrabel, the man, the myth, the legend, came in here, turned the whole organization around, and now we got a chance, man. Super Bowl contenders, legitimate for the first time in a very long time.
Yeah, I know I'm Mike Vrabel, but I just can't hate him.
You can't hate Vrabel. Oh, he's so great. You gotta listen to the freaking interviews, and you'll love Vrabel.
Yeah.
Oh God, he's a guy, man. He's a player's coach.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And no, you're right. The Tennessee Titans are because I remember as a Jet fan, we would always play each other a random week, and it would be a close game, and it would be a nondescript game because neither of us were very good. And but now I feel like we haven't played you guys in forever, and I want to see Derrick Henry. I want to see the GOAT Ryan Tannehill.
Superstars. For the first time, Tennessee Titans have superstars on their offense.
A.J. Brown, Julio. You guys have Julio Jones.
Oh, the mentor and the young protege.
Yeah.
Got to take the league by storm.
100%. Didn't you guys also just have someone retire this week? Who was it? Jarrell Casey? No.
Oh, Jarrell Casey.
It was Jarrell Casey, right?
Yeah, no, it was nice. They brought him back because, there was some bad blood last year when he went to Denver, the trade. But, hey, J-Rob, business is business, man. Sent him to Denver. He took it a little sore. But now it's great that he finally came back. He did an interview just the other day here. And now everything's good. He's happy to retire officially as a Titan.
I know there are times last year where your defense was really struggling. It was rough. I'm kind of banking some Cardinals players might be able to get behind that secondary. But has the secondary been improved this year? I know you guys drafted the cornerback, right?
So we got two. So we got the first rounder, Caleb Farley,
right,
which was very like Jeffrey Simmons just 2 years ago. The big got injured. He was a high prospect. J-Rob Vrabel rolling the dice again, worked out with Simmons, and I'm saying it's probably going to go 2 for 2.
Farley was a high-ranking prospect, and then it was a back injury that stopped him, I believe it was.
Yep, absolutely. And then the COVID, he had some personal things, so he opted out of the season, which is something that a lot of people trying to judge his character on. But since he's been here, he's been great. Listen to the interviews. The kid knows what he's doing. He's strong. He's fast. That's the main thing that this team needed improvement on. Because their secondary, they were slow. No, it's man-on-man coverage was non-existent. If you wanted 5 yards on a button hook, you were going to get it every single time. Which is ultimately which led to the third down conversion rate, which was the worst in the NFL last year. So now this year, you pretty much, John Robinson threw out the whole secondary. Kenny Vaccaro, see you later. Freaking Adoree Jackson, how you doing? Keep it moving. Everybody's gone. So now you got, and Malcolm Butler, of course. How can we forget Malcolm Butler? He told him to hit the road. And now you got Caleb Farley, first-round pick, high prospect. Then in the third round, you go after Elijah Molden, another high prospect. The other week ago, all preseason, the kid's been playing phenomenal. Even on the national circuit, I forget who it was. It was Ryan Clark, Pittsburgh Steelers cornerback. He was even giving him praise, saying, watch out for this kid, Elijah Molden. He's a hard hitter. He's a great tackler. And then he also plays in the nickel. Farley in the slot. Then you'll have Elijah Molden in the nickel. Kevin Byard in the back. Amani Hooker is going to step up and replace Kenny Vaccaro. Younger, a little faster, better tackler than Vaccaro, but Vaccaro had more of a veteran leadership. And then you go on and you sign the veteran leadership, Janoris Jenkins. In the other one we didn't even talk about, Christian Fulton, who was another high second-round pick last year, going into his year 2 now. So now you got all of these. You got 3 young kids ready to make an impact, high potential. Mike Vrabel coaching them up, and then you got Janoris Jenkins, the veteran in the room, teaching them how to be pros. So, hey, I fully expect a completely different secondary this season. Completely. And then that's pretty much it with the secondary. And then you got to deal with the linebackers. And now that's a whole nother conversation. With Rashaan Evans, is he a bust? Is he not a bust? He's flying around. He's making plays. Alabama prospect, big-time player, high draft pick. Didn't really have it last year. Non-existent. Kevin Byard led the team in tackles. When a safety leads a team in tackles, you know there's a problem.
There's too many getting into that second level.
Yep. But then you go out and you sign Bud Dupree. Big-time free agent.
I wanted Bud Dupree, so thank you.
He was the number of top 5 free agents available this year. Everybody, they want to question his injury, if he's still got it. He's still young. He's not that old.
He's only like 4 or 5 years in the league.
Absolutely. And, and he comes from Pittsburgh. He has that same mentality that Tomlin and Vrabel, I would imagine, share.
Yep. Okay.
And he's going to fit in well, man. And you saw it last year with the Steelers. The second Bud Dupree left the lineup, that defense kind of struggled a little bit once he left. TJ needed him a lot, man. He helped him. Bud Dupree was a big part of his success last year.
Yeah, Bud Dupree opens up takes off some of those double teams for TJ to let him get through and absolutely just destroy offensive linemen and get like the 19 and a half sacks, however many he had last year.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, he was almost defensive MVP.
Yeah.
TJ, he was a monster.
Yeah, so it's good to hear that your secondary has been hopefully fixed because you're going to need it going against probably what I personally have as being probably like the Titans-Chiefs AFC Championship game.
Yep.
Again.
I say rematch. 2 years ago, rematch.
And if you guys can finally get that secondary, maybe if Caleb Farley has the speed, he can keep up with Tyreek.
That's going to be a factor, yep.
Yep, and then hopefully you can, get back. Because I want to see the Titans in the Super Bowl. That would be great. I'm a big A.J. Brown fan. I'm a big Derrick Henry fan. I've always been a big Julio fan. So there's some really likable players as an outsider on this team that I'm definitely rooting for.
Oh, absolutely. The stories of these guys, just their team all about winning. That's it. Every single person on this roster, they don't care about their brand or their ego. It's all about winning football, man. They want a Super Bowl. They want a Lombardi. Everybody's bought into Mike Vrabel. It's all going to happen just sooner or later. So, hey, things look good so far. We just got to hope, the X factor is going to be that defense.
Yeah.
Because we already know that offense is going to be phenomenal. Last year, they were the number 3 scoring offense in football. And now you add Julio Jones. Okay, you lose Jonnu Smith. I admit that's a hurt. What a lot of people don't realize about Tennessee is that they hire within. Yes. Even with everybody talking about Todd Downing Arthur Smith's gone. Everything's going to change. The whole offense is going to be different. Todd Downing's been here. He's been here for a couple years. He knows the offense. And why are we always forgetting? Vrabel's the guy calling the plays, man. We always put so much importance on offensive and defensive coordinators. At the end of the day, it's the head coach. He's the head boss. Everything goes through him.
Yep.
And Vrabel, he's got it done. He's already won 3 Super Bowl rings. He knows what to do. He's going to get the.
Is the loss of Arthur Smith, do you think it's going to be more on the Titans or it's going to hurt him more not being with the Titans? Like, was he a product of Tennessee or is what he did sustainable? Because where is he now? Atlanta?
He is now the head coach of Atlanta.
Right.
Yeah. So, you know what? It's kind of tough to say because kind of what I was just going off of before with Mike Vrabel. The guy hires within. Todd Downing, he was a tight end. Well, Arthur Smith. Let's go all the way back to LaFleur. People forget Matt LaFleur, offensive coordinator under Mike Vrabel. He basically was there for 1 season, in and out. He went to Green Bay the very next year. But everybody knows LaFleur is more commonly known for the McVay coaching tree. But he still spent a year at Tennessee with Vrabel. And why – Matt LaFleur, during this time, he was already a head coach considerate. Everybody wanted him as a head coach, but for some reason, he decides, you know what, I'll take an offensive coordinator 1 year with Vrabel. That's got to say something. That goes to Vrabel's ability to just talk to people and just be down to earth and be able to connect with all these guys. So I want to say Arthur Smith. So LaFleur leaves. Arthur Smith, tight end coach. been there for 3 years, upgrade him to the offensive coordinator. Boom, done. Team still has success, still playing good. And all of a sudden, Derrick Henry becomes a superstar, future Hall of Famer. And then Tannehill gets the job done, replaces Mariota, which everybody in Tennessee loves to death. Love you, Mariota, but he just didn't have the killer instinct. He doesn't, and that's the difference between him and Tannehill. Tannehill has the killer instinct. And now, move forward, Arthur Smith moves on. Vrabel, 2 guys, offensive coordinators that he started coaching with, and now they're head coaches somewhere else. You see what I'm getting at? 5 years from now, we're going to be talking about the Mike Vrabel coaching tree. That's what I'm going to be talking about. So now, Todd Downing, you're the next guy up.
One more point on the Titans that I just thought of. So you've seen the careers of Ryan Tannehill now and Marcus Mariota. And, like, I've watched both of them in college with Mariota at Oregon and Tannehill at Texas A&M. And, like, it's wild to me to see the success that Tannehill has versus that Mariota's still stuck in Las Vegas behind Derek Carr. It's just like, if you, like, 5-6 years ago, if you would have given me, like, $1 million, like, yeah, Marcus Mariota will be a bust and Ryan Tannehill might potentially be a Super Bowl MVP. Like, I'd be like, no, you're absolutely crazy.
Yep, absolutely. It's like a complete reverse. One guy's a Heisman Trophy winner, the high prospect, number 2 overall pick, giving him the big highest chance to be a starting quarterback. Then Ryan Tannehill, he wasn't even sure if he wanted to play quarterback until the end of college. So, and then Ryan Tannehill goes to Miami, gets the curse Adam Gase, plays pretty good even with Adam Gase, and then gets injured, out for the year. Never really looked the same when he got back. And then Mariota was the big star. He was labeled a franchise quarterback the second he stepped in the door because there was no one else to compete for the starting job. He was the number 2 overall pick. When you invest a draft pick that high, he's the guy. So everybody loved the guy because he always said the right thing. He was the nice guy. This Hawaiian kid, dreams come true, made it all the way to this NFL, loves his mom, goes to church, blah, blah, blah. But then you got Tannehill, who's just grinding, just working, trying to make it. But still, people, they disregard him. He ain't good. He's done. Bust. Miami wasted a pick. And then they trade him to Tennessee. Week 6. Mariota goes down. Denver Broncos. Vrabel says, you know what? Forget it. Take Mariota off the field. Let's play Ryan Tannehill. Let's see what happens. And what happened was pretty much incredible and something that no one thought was going to happen.
All right, so we'll start here with the AFC South. I'm guessing there's only one team that you consider a real threat to the division.
Yep.
Yeah. So we'll talk about Indianapolis. I mean, are you more confident, less confident were you last year? Like, how are you feeling with them on Carson Wentz, with Michael Pittman being their top receiver, Jonathan Taylor? Like, how do you look at them as far as competition for the division?
I see them as a good challenge because based off our schedules, I think that's going to be the difference because we have a much tougher schedule than the Indianapolis Colts do. So I think that's going to be a big factor. Like, we go from basically we play Buffalo, Kansas City, Indianapolis, all right in a row, all 3 games. That's week 4, 5, and 6. So basically, and then we play the Indianapolis week 3. So I'm saying by week 7 or 8, we'll know if this division race is over. So now I think that their defense is, of course, one of the best in the league. Like, their defense is phenomenal, but that offense is what makes me feel confident that we will repeat as division champs. Because that I don't know about Carson Wentz. Does anybody?
No.
Until we see it. And then to start things off already, the first game of the season didn't even start, and he's busted up his ankle.
Yep.
Out 5 to 12 weeks. And then all of a sudden he's healthy. Like, what's going on? Like, does anybody know what's going on over there? Does Frank Reich even know? Like,
No.
And then Quentin Nelson gets the same exact injury.
Mm-hmm.
That's your top. And then T.Y. Hilton, he's out for a while. You got Michael Pittman, who is I have high expectations on Michael Pittman. I think he'll be a great fantasy sleeper.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to have a lot of opportunity. There's going to be a lot of usage. There's going to be in PPRs. He's definitely going to put up a lot of targets. But the only thing that about Indianapolis that scares me is that defense. Darius Leonard's a beast. DeForest Buckner. That line is very good. Secondary is very good. Malik Hooker. I think that's the only thing that actually scares me about the Colts. But I still think that our offense and defense are much more balanced, and that we'll have more playmakers, and then we'll be able to score more points. In that way, if anything, I expect both of our matchups to be something high score affairs. It'll be something around like 31-28, 30, 27-24. It's going to be something like that. I don't think that anybody expects blowouts, especially when it comes to this heated rivalry, because these teams hate each other. They are the division rival. It's not Houston. It's not Jacksonville. It's Indy and Tennessee. That's the big rivalry in this division. So I think it'll be nice. The way I see it is the Indianapolis Colts, they owned the millennium, 2000, 2010. Houston Texans, they ran the division from 2010 to 2020. I fully expect Tennessee to be this division winner this whole decade. You actually talk about the division race. I feel confident. I think on paper we're the better team. I think we'll put up more points, but that schedule you have to factor it in, because it definitely makes a difference. We have a much tougher schedule than Indianapolis does. And in this game, it's all about wins and losses. It's not about how much you won by or how good your team looks. That's all going to come down to those games. And I say the division is pretty much decided by the halfway point of the season.
I don't think anybody really wants to talk about Jacksonville or Houston.
No, not at all.
So
where's
moving
Deshaun?
on to the AFC East, where my team is located. I'm guessing we don't scare you. So
no.
Do you have any bad blood with the Bills from last year? Like, do you look at the Bills as legit? Do you think Josh Allen will regress a little bit? And that any talk that people think Stephon Diggs is a better receiver than AJ Brown. Anything you want to fight about with the Bills? Any bad blood?
Bills Mafia, they're just a little sour over that very historical loss to the Tennessee Titans on the very first Tuesday night NFL game. So, they're just a little bitter, but it's all right. I understand. They're still, no doubt, it's their division. It's definitely their division. There's really no contest. I don't expect Mac Jones to be an absolute superstar right off the bat.
I've also said that Mac Jones is by far the worst quarterback in the class.
Oh, absolutely. Well, it's a little harsh, but okay, that's fair.
I'm just not a Mac Jones fan. So.
Okay, all right. And then you got Miami can compete, though. I will give you that. I think Brian Flores has done some really incredible things down there. I think they could compete, but I just don't think they have enough offensive firepower just yet. Their offense has got a couple of different random players. Gesicki, Gallick, Tua. What is Tua? Do we know yet? He's Mariota in a sense. He's Mariota in a very sense.
Legit. And I think they would have a much better chance at winning the division if they had a different quarterback.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair because they have a very good defense too.
And I mean, I'm a fan of Gaskin. I think Gaskin's a fantastic running back with Gesicki, who can be a tight end if you can get the ball, and then having Will Fuller and Devontae Parker and Jalen Waddle like that. They have players. It's just
not nobody.
Their quarterback to get them the ball.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Absolutely. And then Brian Flores, I think he's a great coach. He's definitely doing things the right way. He's kind of changed that organization around where they are actually. I think they could make a threat. And you saw it last year at the end of the year. They were pushing for that playoff spot. So I expect them to kind of compete, but I think it's definitely the Bills' division. And then the Jets, things will just be happy. The monster is gone. Just be happy. Things are looking bright. Zach Wilson, he got that freaking great endorsement by Tony Romo.
Yeah.
The man, the myth. He calls everything. So, hey, that's a great endorsement. Maybe he's seeing something that we all not seeing, which we haven't because he hasn't even touched the field yet. So we'll see what happens once things get going here. I think that Corey Davis, he is somewhere to start. We've seen him. We know him very well here. He is a great blocking tight end, great blocking wide receiver. He will block downfield. He can catch in traffic. He's got strong hands. He's just his route running is which kind of has been hindering him his whole career. That's why he never really was considered to live up to that number 5 overall draft pick. But he's humble. He's a hard worker. He's got that mentality. He knows it's all about wins and losses. He just wants to win, and it's a new start. It's somewhere new, so maybe it could rejuvenate him, get him energized. New crowd. It's a big market up there. It could be a lot different compared to Tennessee. So I'm hoping for the best for him. I mean, it would have been great to keep him, but just the money, everything with COVID pandemic. If that never happened, maybe things would have been different. But it's just how the nature of the business. But we wish him the best of luck. And then
he had a monster season for you guys last year.
Oh yeah, he did. He finally, he almost broke 1,000 yards. It would have been nice, but he was just short of 1,000 yards. He played well. He finally turned it on in the second half of the year. The one thing that we kind of missed was him in the Baltimore game. He went out, he left the game early, and that kind of really played an effect on the way that outcome. So I don't know. I mean, Robert Saleh, he is a really great coach. I think he has the ability to change that whole culture, which has kind of been kind of sour for the last couple of years. That whole locker room needs like a whole shift, change, and momentum. So I think Robert Saleh definitely has the potential to do that. He's a defensive mind, so he's going to definitely upgrade that defense, change the mentality. That's what the Jets have had a lot of success over the years when their defenses were very good. That was their best seasons. So I think he starts there. He's going to buff up that defense, and then he'll take care of the offense as it goes. But at least he's built you a nice starter where you got a young rookie. Let's see what he's got. Forget about Sam Darnold. Switch it up. And now you bring in some wide receivers. You bring in a couple guys, little pieces, and then you take it from there. So we'll see what happens. But I think for the next year or two, I would say Buffalo and Miami should be the competition. And then New England, we'll see what happens. But, y'all a bunch of spoiled fans anyway, so just take it. Just welcome to the rest of NFL fandom, you spoiled brats.
Yeah. Now, what I think will probably be the most competitive football division in the AFC North.
Yep.
There's literally like 3 teams who you could tell me could win the division, and who, because I know out of those 3, what scares me the least is the Steelers as the 3 major contenders. How do you rank those teams, and who do you have winning the division? I'm guessing it's not the Bengals you have winning the division.
No, it's not the Bengals. No, we could kind of just put them off to the side. They'll win a couple games. They're almost there. They're putting pieces together, but just not quite yet, especially with all the tougher rivals in the division. So let's go. Pittsburgh. So Pittsburgh played phenomenal last year. We know that. But the thing that scares me the most about Pittsburgh is Ben Roethlisberger. I don't know how much more he has left in the tank. I know he's the big leader. I know he gets injured a lot. I know there's an extra game to the season this year, which is probably going to play an effect. So I think that whole offense pretty much revolves around him. I think it was very smart to draft Najee Harris.
Oh yeah,
when he did, because that is huge. He's going to be a sleeper this year. He's going to put up a lot of production. He's going to be used a lot in that offense. He's going to be heavily involved in this offense. So a lot of their success is going to hinge on the rookie. See what he's got. He had a great college career. He was a high draft, so we'll see what happens. But that defense, it'll still be one of the top in the league. I fully expect that. Their defense is phenomenal. And, you lose a couple pieces, Bud Dupree, of course, which we talked about before, but they should be fine. I'm not sure about this TJ Watt hold-in situation. Not really sure all the details, but I fully expect him. He's a team player. He's going to come back. He's going to play, and that defense will be phenomenal, just like it was last year. But when you think about the Ravens, though, I feel like the Ravens just have more pieces than the Steelers do. So I just like the Ravens a little bit better than the Steelers because I still think – because the Ravens defense is just as damn good. The Ravens defense is good defense.
Yeah.
But the difference is the offense. The Ravens offense is, in my opinion, much better because you got all the pieces and you got Lamar Jackson, who's just a threat out there, who's just can scramble all over the place. It's the exact opposite of what Ben Roethlisberger is. So, it's just old school versus new school. And I think new school beats out over Big Ben, who's been struggling, and I don't expect much. And then Mason Rudolph or whoever they have as backup, it's just going to be a mess the second he gets injured, which will eventually most likely happen. But then you look at Cleveland. Ooh, Cleveland looks good. Cleveland looks real good. That defense is pretty damn stout. That's a lot of first-round draft picks, number one overalls that are finally hitting their primes and coming all together. That defense is phenomenal, and now you add that offense is pretty damn good too. We had question marks about them the last 2 years ago, but last year I think the chemistry finally hit. The head coach, the switch was apparently it worked out pretty well because Baker Mayfield, he looked a lot better last year. And then Odell, you put Jarvis Landry, Austin Hooper. I think it is a more balanced team, and I think this might be the year the Browns finally take the division.
And they have a legitimate chance of beating the Chiefs last year. Like they can get their doors blown off.
Oh, absolutely. And they steamrolled us last season too. Yep. They made us look stupid.
Oh yeah, wasn't that 49 to 14 game or whatever?
Oh God, yeah. Oh, it was insane. Yeah, they freaking that offense, man. They finally got clicking because they are something. When you got freaking Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt both producing at high levels, whew, yo, that team is got high ceiling.
Yeah,
high ceiling. High floor.
Especially if they can get Giants Odell back. Oh, my God.
Oh, absolutely. That injury kind of killed him last year, and now we'll see him. He's supposed to be healthy. He's supposed to be ready to go. We'll see what happens. But, yeah, if he can get back to himself, Jarvis Landry, he's still been doing his thing for the last couple of years. He's still a reliable wide receiver in the league. And that, the sky's the ceiling. They could go as far as they want. I think it's time for Cleveland to get some wins. Be happy, and it's going to finally happen this year.
The AFC West.
Yeah.
It's a 2-team race.
Yeah.
It's a 1-team race, but it's a 2-team race.
Yeah.
No, we don't need to talk about the LA Raiders the Las Vegas Raiders because they play in a cool stadium and they have Derek Carr as their quarterback. The Broncos. I'm big on Cortland Sutton this year in fantasy. I've drafted him in every one of my leagues. So I think he's going to have a bounce back year. Teddy Bridgewater throwing it. They don't care. It's the Chiefs and the Chargers. So let's hear your opinions.
It's the Chiefs. It's not even close. That's the opinion. But the Chiefs, they're just so freaking powerful. They will be the number one team always, every single year, just as long as Andy Reid's still there. Patrick Mahomes, he ain't going nowhere. Kelsey, Hill, that whole offense. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, if he could take a step forward from his campaign last year and develop a little bit better, coach him up, he's going to have – that offense is going to be unbelievable, just like it was last year and the year before that. It's Kansas City. And then that defense, sometimes that defense plays very well and sometimes they play a little questionable. They give up a lot of points every now and then, but they still can get the job done where they need to. It all starts with Mathia, Honey Badger. He's the captain of that defense. He gets them all hyped up. They play well whenever he's more motivated. And they play good in the prime time. They're a team made for the lights. When the lights are on, they play even at a higher level. So they'll always be one of the best. They'll be right there, number one, number two, at the end of the season. And they'll most likely be the ones in that AFC Championship game. Now, the Chargers, there's hope. There's got some pieces there. Things are working out well. Anthony Lynn had to go. Thank God he's finally gone. Now there's a little bit more hope there that they could actually turn it around and actually start winning a couple more games because they've always been a good team, but they've always been that team that could just never get over the hump.
Nope.
They lose in the playoffs almost all the time for years. And you can't blame Phillip Rivers. The guy is a future Hall of Famer. He did everything he could. But it's just never seemed to work out. They just never could be the complete team. When their offense is good, their defense is bad. When the defense is good, their offense is bad. So, they'll get it going. I think they'll definitely compete. I would say also, look out for the Broncos. I think the Broncos could compete a little bit to at least dethrone that second-place Chargers. But I put them in the same category as each other. They're a couple years away. They got bright futures. They're building pieces. The Raiders, I just think, is the clear bottom of the division. We'll never know what's going to happen with them. Gruden, is it working? Is it not working? Doesn't seem like it's working on the field, but every now and then they put up a couple surprise wins. That's why it's so hard to look at the AFC West. It's all over the place. But the only thing that is absolutely certain every single year is that the Kansas Cities will be one of the best teams in the NFL.
But let me ask you, because it's weird. I look at the Chiefs and then I look at the Patriots, and maybe it was because the Patriots were in my division and they just destroyed me every year that I just hated them like no other. Yeah. I can't hate this Chiefs team. And
you can't.
I was gonna say, have they since they've beaten you guys, have you developed some sort of from, or do you just more respect them?
No, because I think there's more of a respect between Tennessee and Kansas City because we played each other twice. We won the first one in the regular season. They won in the playoff game, the AFC Championship game. But, it was hard fought and it was respect because, they're the best. They're the absolute best team in the NFL, Kansas City. So I think that the big rival when it comes to Tennessee, you can't hate Kansas City. They're just superstars. They're just lovable. Kelsey's he's on television shows. He's a star. Tyreek Hill's out there racing Usain Bolt and Cheetos. How can you not? It's entertainment. Patrick Mahomes, he's on the commercials. He's all over the place, the face pretty much of the NFL. How can you not love these guys, man? And then Andy Reid, good old Andy Reid. Come, his story, his career, who's not interested in rooting for that guy? Come on. But when it comes to Tennessee, I think the real rival is Baltimore. I hate the Ravens. I'm sorry. I hate you. I hate Lamar Jackson because the disrespect, stomping on the logo, So as a Titans fan, I would say you hate the Ravens much more than Kansas City beating you in the championship game because, screw Baltimore. Screw them. Disrespectful. Lamar Jackson, you shake the goddamn hand. You running off the field. But it is what it is, I guess. Taylor Lewan, one of my favorites. He's on the podcast. He's always saying, you know what? It's just good. It's petty, but what are you going to do? It's all whatever. But as a fan, I think Tennessee Titans fans took it more personally with the Ravens, whereas the loss to Kansas City, it's just you know what? We weren't even supposed to be here. This was we snuck in the 6th seed, the amazing run, the special season with Tannehill taking over, taking them all the way to the final, the championship AFC game. So it was just you know what? You can't hate Kansas City. There's too many likable people there. There's just too many stars, faces of the NFL. So that's what I would say about that.
AFC Championship game, you have Titans Chiefs. The Titans winning it?
Absolutely.
All right. Who do you have them versus in the NFC? Have you thought about it?
Ooh, in the NFC? Oof. I think it's pretty much going to be – I think it's going to be Tampa. I think it's going to be Tampa again. I know Packers are going to compete. The Packers will be up there. They always are. But I think just the damage has been done with this organization in Rodgers, where I don't know. I know he wants it, but I don't think he wants it for Green Bay anymore. So, I mean, we'll see what happens, but they'll definitely be there. It'll be the NFC Championship game, Packers, Bucks. Depends where it's going to be. If the Packers somehow can win that first round seed and actually play that game home instead of in Tampa, then maybe the Packers will be there. So I think it's pretty much those two. I don't see any other surprises coming out of the NFC other than those two.
All right, last question again. I'm going to ask this to everyone I have on for the NFL. Are you used to saying it's a 17-game season now?
No, not at all. And I don't even know if the record books are going to have asterisks next to them. Because, it just seems like it's going to be very weird. It's going to be very weird. It's going to be an adjustment, but we'll see. I mean, hey, it's more football. That's not a bad thing.
You guys got Houston in that 17th game, so.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's always good. A little more help to get that division record up right at the end of the year.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
Our ESPN insider, Scott Rockham. Yeah, thank you.
Yep, you got it, brother. Take it easy. Hopefully it'll be a great year, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll definitely have you on again for any more anything Titans or AFC or football.
Oh, absolutely. Definitely. Anytime. Just let me know. I'll be here.
Awesome. Thanks, Scott.
All right. Have a good one.
Well, that was the AFC prediction show. Next up, we have the NFC prediction show. You'll see that one coming up. But any audio issues, I apologize. I'll try and get those fixed out through editing. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to give us a like if you want more football content, if you love the football content. Let me know down below in the comment section who you have as the AFC champion. And I'm Tom. That was Scott. Thanks for watching.